Hello everyone. Myself Bala Nikita, and today's my presentation topic is in memory of W.B. Yeats, Auden and the role of poetry in society. This is my personal information, table of contents, and research questions and hypothesis. Research question: How does W.B. Yeats W.H. Auden's claim that poetry makes nothing happen shape our understanding of the role of poetry in society, and what implications does it have for the function of arts? Hypothesis. While Auden assert that poetry does not directly influence political or social events, it plays a crucial role in shaping cultural memory, intellectual disorders, and emotional understanding. Rather than acting as a force for immediate action, poetry functions as a means of reflections and interpretations, influencing society in a more subtle and long-term ways. Introduction. First, I want to say about in memory. Basically, we know about this work. In this work, it's after its death, not alive. In his anything, but he's writing also live in present. All things change, not immediately, but long time after change some of things. In introductions, W.H. Auden's statements, poetry makes nothing happen, from the In Memory of W.B. Yeats, has sparked the debate about the role of poetry in society. Auden argued that poetry does not directly influence political or social events, but instead serves as a medium of reflection, understanding, and artistic expressions, rather than acting as a tool for propaganda or activism. Poetry enduring shaping cultural memory and intellectual engagement. Through his work, Auden's critiques civilization, ethics, and human psychology, emphasizing that poetry's value lies not in creating immediate change, but in offering insight into the human condition. In this famous line in memory of W. Beats, where the poet says, "For poetry makes nothing happen; it survives in the valley of its making, where executives would never want to temper." Through these lines, Audens emphasize that poetry's significance lies in its ability to shape thought and understanding, uh, uh, bring about immediate change. Auden's view on poetry and society. First is poetry as an autonomous art form. Audens reject the idea that poetry directly influences political or social events. He argues that art is not a tool for direct action or propagandas. He argue about these things. Uh, some of works is not for propagandas. For example, in the public versus the late Mr. William Butler Yeats, Auden states that art is a product of history, not a cause of historical events. Poetry's relationship with civilizations. Auden see poetry as a deeply connected to civilizations, but not as a force that changes it materially. He is interested in how poetry reflect and critique cultural and social structures. His works engage with figures like Freud's Pascals and Montaigne to explore human society. After the role of poetry according to Auden. So poetry's value in understanding society. Poetry help people interpret history, politics, and emotion. Spain may not have changed the war, but it shaped how people remember it. So it's main example we can get when war started. In that time, so many poets were writing for stopping war, but it's not immediately and quickly changing and stopping war. But sometime after, people remember that things. Poetry fosters intellectuals and emotional engagement, which can lead to long-term cultural shift. And poetry and civilizations. Auden was a poet deeply engaged with civilizations and cultural memory. He explored theme of society, ethics, and human psychology, but resisted the idea that poetry was a solution to political problems. The aesthetic and ethical role of poetry. Poetry should be valued for its artistic and moral depth rather than its political function. Audens warned against the making a religions or aesthetics, criticizing both Marxist and fascist artist propaganda. He believed that the true role of the poets was to uncover truth about human nature, not to detect a political change. Implication for the functions of art. So first is does art have a responsibility to society? Auden suggests that poetry's value lies in understanding, not action. And poetry poet is a way to reflect on history and human experience without enforcing solutions. Second one is does poetry truly make nothing happen? So poetry influences cultural perceptions and memory, even if it does not create immediate action. For example, Spain shaped how people remember and Spanish Civil War, even if it did not change its course. And poetry's role in a fragmented world. So, Audens believed that a modern world lacked philosophical and artistic unity. Poetry should seek order, beauty, and truth rather than the being used as a propaganda. So, in conclusion, while Auden assert that poetry does not directly shape history and or politics, his work demonstrates its power to interpret, critique, and preserves human experience. Poetry influences culture and thought, even if its effects are indirect and long term. Rather than the enforcing political action, poetry provides a space for contemplation, emotional depth, and artistic beauty. In a fragmented world, Auden suggests that poetry's true functions is to seek truth, order, and moral understanding, ensuring that it remains a lasting force in civilizations. So these are my references, and thank you. If anyone question, please ask me.
So, Nikita, my question is for you. Given Auden's critique of both Marxist and fascist artistic propaganda, what does he suggest is the ethical responsibility of poets in society?
So poets should seek truth, explores nature rather than the serve ideology. Audens warns against propaganda and emphasizing poetry's role in offering insights, moral influence, and artistic beauty, and encouraging the critical thought, critical thought, like